I'm LaToya Tucciarone. My husband Andrew and I have traveled all over the world, experiencing some of the most incredible places and meeting some of the most incredible people through our work in the documentary and fair trade industries. Our show, The Art of Culture, is your opportunity to come along with us on these journeys. Today, our travels take us to Bainbridge Island in Washington State. I first discovered Bainbridge Island on a design trip to Seattle when, on a clear morning, peeking out of the window of my hotel across the Puget Sound, I saw it. A seemingly tiny island rising romantically from the sea in the distance. Bainbridge Island is less than 10 miles from downtown Seattle, but because it's an island, you have to take a ferry to get across Puget Sound. I said that you have to, but really I mean that you get to, as riding the Washington State Ferry is an adventure in and of itself. That's the first step that Andrew and I took as we began our journey to discover the culture of Bainbridge Island. If you go, grab a drink, a quick snack.
Can I see what beers you guys have on draft?
Yeah.
That's always my favorite part.
So you want the Bainbridge Kolsch?
Oh, yeah.
It's our best seller.
Oh, thank you. You guys are awesome.
And if you want the full nautical experience, head out on the deck where you'll feel the wind as you hurtle across the water at 18 knots, taking in the epic views at full speed. The inside is just as nice and a lot more calm, with a great view from almost every seat on a clear day. Before you know it, Bainbridge Island is in sight, bustling even when we visited in March, filled with early season tourists and locals. Directly off the ferry, it's obvious that Bainbridge has a capital A art culture, from amazing museums to cute little boutique stores, artist workspaces, and art installations that are everywhere. Clearly, there is something about this place that makes it a paradise for art and artists. In fact, the most prominent building you'll see when you get off the Seattle Ferry in the Winslow neighborhood is the Bainbridge Island Museum of Art. Andrew and I decided to stop by to talk with their assistant director about the museum and what it says about the culture of this region.
I think Bainbridge Island is unique. If you live here, you can be in the woods and have space and think and get into your mind and be creative. But you're also only just a short ferry ride from downtown Seattle where you can have access to major arts events, galleries, museums, concerts, performances. You can be separate over here, but you can also be part of this larger thing. We have a very educated and curious community who want to learn and be exposed to new ideas. So this piece here is from our collection by Alfredo Arregui. This piece is called Salish Sea, but he uses repeating patterns to create these really intricate paintings. This window is called the Beacon Window, and we rotate out the pieces in here. This particular work is by Celeste Kooning. When you drive off the ferry, which is our main connection to Seattle, it is the first thing that you see. And so we wanted it to be a beacon of the arts for people to know that this is what we value over here. Here at BIMA, we put on over 200 events a year because we're really focused on programs, not just the art on the wall, but bringing them to life in conversation or having people gather around them.
All right, that might do it. Whereas if I do this, yeah, it's white, because you know how to make pink.
I don't know about you, but art always makes me hungry. So we stopped into the coolest casual Japanese restaurant with a little Hawaiian flair for some noodles and matcha ice cream. With full hearts and stomachs, we drove a few minutes away from downtown to check out Barn. Now, it's not a barn, but the barn, the Bainbridge Artisan Resource Network. We were lucky enough to catch their executive director, Gray, and he kindly offered to tell us a little bit more about the place.
A 25,000 square foot facility with a huge wood shop and metal shop and print studio and fiber art studio and glass studio, culinary kitchen, writer's studio, tech lab. If you want to make something, there's a pretty good chance you can do it here. It took real fundraising to build this place, and so, as a community, we value spending money on this. And I think as well, all of the shops here are run and operated by volunteers. People here really care about this stuff and value it and want to make it available for themselves and their neighbor. I think Bainbridge Island really has a strong community focus. If you are working on something and you're doing that in isolation, that's great. You can have a lot of focus. You can do things exactly the way that you want to do. But when you're working in a community, you can pick up so many details or skills from other people. You can see things that you didn't think were possible.
Well, I moved to Bainbridge because of the bar. I always wanted to do woodworking and furniture making, but I was a girl and I wasn't allowed to do it. And here, nobody cares. Yeah.
Oh, you just learn things. You learn things from other people's experiences. So, that's always important.
There are some real struggles because the character of the island is changing, right? When the stained glass artists who put our glass studio together moved here in the 70s, they could afford to do that as artists. And with our proximity to Seattle and the tech industry, they're changing the landscape so much, right? That has kind of waves that break over onto Bainbridge Island as well. So keeping the island being a very welcoming and accessible place for artists, while those changes are also happening, is a big thing for Barn to tackle.
Heading back to our Airbnb for the night after our time at Barn and BIMA, we were feeling inspired and hopeful. Hopeful that despite the challenges of affordability and the pressures of the tech culture, there clearly were organizations that are using their voices to stand up for the things that make Bainbridge special. We were tired, but not too tired, to enjoy the rest of the evening, hitting a few of Bainbridge's many incredible restaurants and listening to some live music at the Bainbridge Brewery. In my time as a designer and a retailer, I have met hundreds of artists, creators, and vendors from across the country and the globe. One of the things that has always interested me is how the place and the culture that an artist creates from influences their medium and craft. Today, we are meeting with past collaborators and friends, Chelsea and James from Grain, to hear more about their business, what an artist's place is in this crazy world, and how Bainbridge has influenced their work.
We live a more quiet and simple life, and that just suits us. It's for sure not for everybody. It's just turned out to be a great fit for us. Both of us grew up here in the Northwest, and we met when we were students at the Rhode Island School of Design. We were feeling really nostalgic about coming home. Both of us had been on the East Coast almost 10 years, and we wanted to kind of explore what it would be like to live in the Northwest as adults. And we also were considering starting a business together, and we thought this would be a great place to do that.
It's a beautiful place. There's because it's a relatively small island, there's water all over the place. It kind of has windy roads and forests in some areas still. Yeah, I don't know. There's just a nice vibe to Bainbridge.
In the early days, it allowed us to kind of take a slower approach to it and really reflect on what it is we personally wanted to express in our work.
Yeah, in some ways, the whole business is a creative thought, but it's not always expressed in the object. You can kind of look at the whole business as something we're trying to build or grow in a creative way.
A lot of our wood has special certifications, so we know where it's coming from. We know how timber workers were treated in the harvesting of that wood. We know that it's fast growing. So we're always kind of editing the materials we want to work with because of that as well. I try to think out generationally, for our products, for the things we're making. Like, we want to see longevity, like what's the full life cycle of what we're doing. But also like, okay, well, if we're doing this for our whole career, if we have this whole view, if we're taking this into our retirement, then we have time.
I think it's difficult to be creative if you're really stressed out. And yeah, that affects us sometimes in the business when we're really busy or there's something else. You just don't have the space to be creative. And so maybe that's what Bainbridge helps provide, is just a little bit of space. You have that, but then there's still little kind of magical Bainbridge moments. Like the other day I was taking the kids home from their grandparents' house, and there's a section that's along the water, and our older daughter suddenly just yelled out, "Orca!" And we like pulled the car over and ran down the public dock and just myself and my kids just watched some orcas go by. So
experiencing that from living here, it gets in your body, like that idea of like being in relationship with nature in that way. I think there's a tremendous role for artists and designers to be part of like building a more beautiful and just world. I know that we need to have space for creative to be part of like telling the story of our future together.
Spending time with Chelsea and James, I was inspired by their approach and their dedication to the quiet and the slowness of their art practice, which has clearly built a deep well from which their creativity flows. Walking in the Grand Forest Nature Preserve, it all came together for me. Even though it might not be the easiest thing to articulate, this place, with its natural resources, forest preserves, separation from the hustle and bustle of the big city, and supportive and nurturing resource networks, make Bainbridge Island fertile soil for artists to grow and create, to speak in their unique voice, and to have a say in the future. Thanks for taking this journey with us to Bainbridge Island. After spending a few days here, it's become very clear that it is a location that passes our NEAT test of amazing places to visit and enjoy when you're looking for culture as a part of your travel. NEAT places have nature, eats, arts, and transportation. Here at Bainbridge Island, you can get lost in the forest, swim in Puget Sound, eat what is possibly the best bowl of ramen in the U.S., enjoy world-class art, and ride a ferry. What more could you ask for? Thanks for joining us on The Art of Culture. To be the first to know about new shorts, future episodes, please like this film and subscribe to our YouTube. See ya.